Gupta, and good afternoon. At the outset, I must compliment EPI for arranging a seminar on this important issue. If we look at the power sector in the country, okay, good afternoon once again. If we look at the power sector in the country, it is at the crossroads of the development. We are finding that the generation in the system is increasing manifold at a very fast pace. Demand is increasing. There is a transmission network which is coming in different regions. Across the regions, a lot of transmission is being added. In spite of all these things, what we are finding, a number of utilities, they find that they are not able to meet the load. At the same time, if we see the generation, we find that a large number of quantum of generation that is not being dispatched. And sometimes, if you hear the generators and the discoms together, they say that we have the load, we have the generation, but the transmission network, we are not able to transmit the generation to the appropriate point. In fact, we are very close to the real-time data, and today morning when I was just looking at the figures, around 7,000 megawatt of generation that is not being dispatched. That was exactly on the low demand. On the coal shortage and all that, there could be another figure. But just because of the low demand, this much generation is not being dispatched. And at the same time, in case of overdraws also, or in case of the utilities, they say that they are not able to meet the load. So looking into all these aspects, this particular feature, the ancillary services, what is being discussed and all that, and in the morning when the certain apprehensions were expressed by some of the speakers and the members, and definitely that may not be unfounded. There is a fear that already whether this would enhance the prices in the market when so much of generation is there already. There we have to find out some ways and means that how that the generation can be dispatched, whether the need for such a new product is there or not. We'll just go through the few points. Generally, the drivers for the ancillary service in India, mainly that is the point what I would be covering in a few minutes, maybe 8 to 10 minutes from now. And then how basically this particular, what discussions are going on and how this particular product can be brought in, what are the different features of this particular product, how it could be different from the other conventional products. These provisions, I would not go into those details, but these provisions are very clear. The Indian Electricity Grid Code and the Electricity Act that define certain responsibilities. The NLDCs and RLDCs, they have to play a very, very important role in that. Definition in the morning, ancillary service definition that was deliberated in good detail. the existing framework, if we talk of long-term contracts, medium-term contracts, these are the two contracts varying from 3 months to 3 years, and up to 12 years are the 12 years and higher is the long-term contract. These two together, they constitute 89% of the energy that is being transacted. Long-term and medium-term, they form 89%. Then if we take short-term open access, it has bilateral as well as collective. These basically constitute around 8%, 5% if we say bilateral and 3% collective. And another balance 3% is the real-time imbalances, that is UI. So 3% is that. So 89, 5, 3, 3. This is the type of segregation if we make the complete segregation. And just sitting over here, I was trying to work out the product of the ancillary services, particularly the frequency support ancillary services, what we are talking about. What would be that percentage in terms of quantum and all that, how big that would be. And when certain figures were thrown by the different speakers, Mr. Mehdi Ratta from IEX, he shared some figure in the range of around 1000 megawatt or so. That too on the almost the spinning generation, the generation is already available. And then Mr. Meghani, he was also giving some case study and all that, and in the morning when we were coming, I was talking to Mr. Suni. What we can look into is, if we take into consideration even the smaller figure, say around 500 megawatt of the figure which is already spinning, which is there, machines are running and only some capacity is to be increased, and we operate those machines, that much of 500 megawatt generation, say 6 hours in a day, and that too during the months when there is a high demand in the system, say around 8 months in a year. 500 megawatt, 3 hours, 6 hours per day, 8 months in a year. If we calculate all those values, multiply, find out the energy, it comes out in the range of around 700 to 800 million units in a year, which is less than a billion of the units. And the energy, total energy consumption is of the order of around 800 to 900 billion units. So it is basically less than 0.1% of the total value. The 89%, 5%, 3%, 3%, against that, this particular type of value, it is coming out to be of the range of around 0.1%. If baby step, as Mr. Suni stated in the morning. So if this is the type of volume, and then if we see the Indian electricity market, the distinguished feature basically very well fits into those things. We have the multiple buyers and sellers. Market is under development. Lack of adequate reserves, loose power pools, absence of tight frequency control, lack of adequate primary, secondary and tertiary response. Why I am just stressing on all these parameters is, if we look into all these features, what are there in the markets, so a new product like ancillary services and all that, basically because of the loose power pools, because of the absence of tight frequency control and all those things, what we find is this particular product very well fits in the whole structure. It fulfills some of the requirements, but as we go ahead, we will see those requirements also. Against the drivers for introduction of ancillary services. Reliability and security. The product is mainly to infuse the security in the system, reliability and security in the system. How this 0.1% of the energy, what we are, how it is going to reliability, add the reliability and security. Again, in the another 2-3 slides you can see that. Restructured power system. Since it's a restructured power system, it is the entities are not vertically integrated entities. There are separate generations are there, DISCOMs are there. Even within a particular one state also, if particular DISCOM wants some power, he has to buy it from the generation company. It is not a vertically integrated. So under those conditions, someone has to requisition that particular power. There is a fragmented unutilized generation, different plants. In fact, even if we see the gas-based stations which can operate very well operate on the RLNG. And if we look at those stations in the country, Anta, Auraiya, Dadri Gas, Kavas, Gandhar, everywhere, if we add up the, I was trying to add up the capacity, that capacity itself is of the order of around 1000 megawatt which can operate on RLNG and it is not being dispatched. There are cases of the consistent shortages are there, frequent unplanned load shedding. Frequent unplanned load shedding, but why I am telling frequent unplanned load shedding is, the power is available, but particular DISCOM, because there could be a reason of the funds and all those things, they want to, do not want to spend those funds, there could be, those constraints are there. Under those situations, even though they have a share, but they are not meeting that particular share, and sometimes carry out the unplanned load shedding is being carried out, which is deteriorating the overall system parameters. Then there are voluntary services, again some services are required. This is the frequency control support services is one part, frequency support ancillary services, then VAR services and the black start services. These type of services, once in a while these are required. Mitigating the variability of renewable sources, again this everyone knows this thing, the moment more and more renewables comes, some source is there which can offset that particular intermittency. And the product available for a common good. Mr. Vaidilata again touched this particular point. What actually is happening, the particular entity, in spite of knowing that his share is there, he has not been requisitioning that particular share, but overdrawing from the grid, which is basically deteriorating the system parameters. So it's a basically quantum is a, it could be a dedicated to the individual, but common good means the quality of the grid. Again, the whole quality of the grid is being deteriorated. Again, I'll further elaborate on this particular example. A particular state, suppose he has a share on liquid generating plants, gas plants or RLNG, he is not requisitioning that particular generation. Since he is not requisitioning that particular generation is not being dispatched. But at the same time, he is overdrawing that particular quantum from the grid in the form of the unscheduled interchanges and all that. So ultimately what happens? He has been drawing the power, but that particular generation is not being dispatched. So ultimately the parameters are being deteriorated. So there has to be some mechanism has to be there, which can, quality of the supply can be addressed. Someone has to intervene and address that particular point. So for this particular thing, this issue on the ancillary services, that has been under discussion for a long time. As in the morning, even Chairperson CRC also shared this particular view. And initially approach paper was submitted, then these services, frequency support ancillary services, that was one of the major service which was identified. And basically, definitely the idea was that to start with the liquid fuel based or diesel based generation, the standard generation that can be harnessed, and merchant IPPs and CPs, some additional, some quantum of generation is there, that could be a spinning generation that could be harnessed. And then CRC had given an order on 20th July. There the draft regulation was the discussion. Now further discussions and all that today morning, as Chairperson has shared, there is a approach paper which is being, they are bringing out the approach paper on that. The role of power exchanges, basically the moment we go for this particular product, it very well fits in the whole framework. It has to be a new product in the name of frequency support ancillary services. There has to be a separate category of the user group. In fact, Mr. Vaidilata, what he stated in the, just before the lunch session, more or less there appears to be total syncing of the ideas. The separate, there has to be already, like for renewable energy certificate or for the collective and all that, there is a separate, some group of users are there. So for this particular, there has to be a separate group of users. Standing clearance from the concerned RLDC, SLDC will have to be obtained for that. It has to be by competitive bidding. And price discovery, again a stack can be formed. Already some generators are there, they have to give their prices. It's only thing is in the collective we are having the double side bidding. Here they can give their bids, the generators they can give their bids and the stack can be formed, and it could be pay as bid or uniform price. That is a thing of further discussions, but that can be found out, and definitely from the stack, the merit order, in a merit order the quantum can be dispatched, whatever basis some quantum is determined and that can be dispatched. And again the anonymity of the bidders, and it has to be a homegrown solution, that is very clear, because whatever exactly requirements are there, we have to find out our requirements and we have to develop that particular product. What are the issues under discussions? Just last 2 slides, we will just deliberate on the what issues are being discussed in. Can it work in shortage conditions? This time and again when we talk of the frequency support ancillary services, then the question comes, already when the shortage conditions is there, what this would do. But that is not the point. In fact, when the power exchanges in 2008, the power exchanges were launched. That time also a lot of discussions were there, but how the power exchanges would operate when already severe shortage conditions are there in the market, how market can function. But what we are finding after 3 years or 4 years of the experience, it appears to be a big success. Can it go along with the UI? This is another question which is being asked. At what point to trigger and withdraw? Once we go for the ancillary services, when we can start it, kick in, when we can kick out, again that could be a point which is under discussion. Operational requirements, the generators which will give those services, in what conditions they have to keep them. Monitoring of actual delivery, once you ask the generator, you come as a frequency support ancillary services, then whether he has delivered that particular thing, he has not delivered that, the monitoring of that, how deviation would be accounted for, whether once the ancillary services is asked for and suppose the frequency goes up and all that thing, he carries out the deviation, whether it could be a sort of gaming also, it could be how that would be accounted for. How to charge the beneficiaries, because the generator you can pay as bid or uniform price, but beneficiaries how they would be charged. Whether habitual overdrawing states affecting grid discipline look to ancillary as their rescue. Whether they would start saying once this ancillary is there, now we may do any overdraw, anything we may do, ancillary services there, they should take care of all those things, whether that type of thing. So all these points basically, it's good that issue has been, commission is coming out with a paper, and put at all these points which have to be deliberated, discussed, and ultimately we have to find out the product. Now coming to the last slide, definitely it is an opportunity for generators towards helping consumers in meeting higher demand and monetary incentive in that. Definitely whatever their generation, they would get some monetary incentives. It could be 50-50, they may be sharing. Again, there was an idea they can share 50% whatever gains are there with their long-term beneficiaries, 50% they can, but there could be so many issues could be there. Utilization of fragmented stranded capacity, definitely it would be there. Small capacity that is fragmented and stranded that can be used. Helping hand towards higher renewable penetration, there are no doubt about that particular thing, because once we are having more and more renewables, so this mechanism is required. Confidence to the peakers. The peaker generating station, as I am sharing 1000 megawatt of the RLNG that is lying unused, because the states are, some discoms, they are not asking the shares, and they have been, on the contrary, they have been trying to overdraw from the grid under unscheduled interchanging and all that. So at least the peakers, they will have the confidence that yes, if the parameters fall down, then their capacity, someone is there to take their particular capacity. And those, basically the fear some people were, if they express that their cost would increase and all those things. Suppose if a mechanism is found out and if they do not overdraw, then perhaps it may not be booked to them. They would remain unaffected by that particular aspect. Only the who deviate, perhaps it would be charged to them. So those who go into discipline, remain into discipline, they would not even be affected by any particular prices and all those things. And then the same cannot be looked upon as a license to overdraw, definitely, and leads towards better and stable system. So this is what I wanted to share. Thank you.